Hi guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor and your leverage for change. Today I want to speak about a subject that I really don't focus on a lot, but I had a question from one of my subscribers. They wanted to kind of know a little bit more about the narcissist, right? So I'm just going to kind of go, I'm not going to focus a lot on this because there are so many really good videos on YouTube and people who specialize in this specific thing that I'd rather that they kind of focus on that versus me. But I will put it up, for my subscribers who may be interested in knowing what it is. What does a narcissist, someone with a narcissist disorder, what do they look like? How do they, what's their language pattern like, right? So I'll just focus on those two areas today. What are some of the traits of a narcissist, and also what would does their language pattern look like? So those two things. Before I begin, guys, please check out my membership, memberships by hitting that join button below. Basically, it will give you ideas. Once you hit the join button, it will open up the different levels of memberships that I offer. And really, I created this. I was just recently approved by YouTube. And I created this because, guys, a lot of people want to work with me, but they cannot afford the one-on-one cost of coaching. So I decided to do these different levels that will basically help people that are interested at the higher levels, the really top level. I think it is the two highest levels will have components where you are actually working on your growth, but you're doing it by yourself, right? At the top level, you basically will have an additional way of being helped by me meeting with you once a month to just kind of see where you're at and help you to move forward. And also, if there are things that are more private that you would want to be sharing in a more of an open forum. All right, guys. So basically, let me just go into this. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but just check it out down below. It's at the join button. So what are some of the patterns? For example, what does a narcissistic individual, what are some of the traits that they have? The one big thing is they have no empathy. They're not able to stand in someone else's shoes and understand what somebody else is feeling. No empathy. And they're actually very proud of that. They're actually very proud of that. They believe that having no empathy means that they are strong, and that anybody else who is empathetic, they're weak. So they have no empathy whatsoever, and they will actually exploit the feelings of others without any feeling of remorse. They don't feel any remorse when they say horrible things about people to make them feel bad. They have no remorse. All right. The next thing is they feel they know everything. They just feel that they're so smart. They know everything, right? And they will actually, in a conversation, they will actually talk over you and bring everything back to focus on themselves. Always, the self is always the most important thing. They are the most important thing ever. Everybody else is like the little peons down there, right? So guys, anyone, when you see this, you know that this person, if everything is always leading back to themselves, and they will talk over you just to get their point across about something they want to tell everybody else about, how good they are, how this they are, how whatever it might be. They have this thing that they call a grandiose, which is they exaggerate everything. They exaggerate everything. If they have a good job, it's going to be the best job ever. It's just everything is grandiose. They exaggerate, which means really that their perspective of their life is exaggerated, and in a way that makes them look good, right? Not bad. So good stuff. I have so many friends who will stop anything, stop and do anything for me. I was a teacher's favorite, just very grandiose. All right. Now, sometimes a lot of them also will. It's the funniest thing, guys, because these individuals, the reason why they really behave like this is because they show this part of them to the world, but deep inside, they are very insecure. They are very insecure, and they are also, not only are they very insecure, they're also, their self-worth is really low. So all of these things is really like a big show, right? A big show. It's living on this plane that looks like everything is so good for them that they just want people to envy how they look, and everything is perfect for them. All right, they have this feeling of entitlement. They Everything is all about them. They're entitled to you bowing down to them almost like they're a little god, right? They're entitled to better. If you go somewhere and there's a couple of rooms to choose from in a home, they're going to want the best. They just have this feeling of entitlement. They should be the one that's offered this. They should be the one that's given this. They're the one who deserve this, and it's always the best things. They have this really thing of feeling that they're entitled to the best and everything. As I said before, this happens, guys, because they're deeply insecure, but they portray a very confident facade. So people believe that these people are that they are confident. They look confident. They come off as confident, but they have very low self-esteem, and they're very deeply insecure. All right, and this shows out in the way that they have a constant need for admiration. They just need people to look at them and say, "Oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, I love that about you. Oh, I love this. Oh wow, I wish I could do that." That constant need for admiration. All right, and this is because they're very insecure. They need that boost every time. It's like they get on a high when somebody tells, "Oh, I love that. You're so, whatever." Just a constant boost of admiration. This person will also have the tendency to cheat in relationships, and it's also because they're very insecure. They feel the need to cheat because it builds up their ego. It builds up their ego and makes the other person that they're cheating on feel less than. And what do we know about people who hate themselves or are insecure in themselves? They want others to feel insecure and hate themselves too. So they say this thing called hurt people. That's basically what happens with the narcissist, all right? But a lot of times it's not necessarily hurt, guys. It's just some kind of a mess that's happening in their brain, all right? And they just feel. Also, it has a lot to do with the parents. Sometimes the parents will give them everything they want and just go over and above with pleasing this child and spoiling this child, really, right? And everybody else is everything. They're better than everybody else, so they get this false sense of security, which does not pan out when they get older. So they don't take criticism well. So if you are to say something to them that is not what they want to hear, and it might be good criticism for them to be able to, learn from and be better, right? But they don't take it well. They are because, and this is the reason why, is because they feel superior to others. So really, if you're superior to everyone else, why is anybody criticizing me, right? There's no reason for anyone to criticize me, right? The next thing is they also, guys, they come off as confident, but they're usually they suffer from depression, and a lot of the times they may go to drugs or alcohol or something to kind of ease that depression, for them to kind of cover it over, to mask that depression. But they usually do suffer from depression, a lot of narcissists, in their private time. They are also very dismissive of others. They don't have any patience for anyone else, meaning that they won't listen to them. They may say something like, because they're dismissive of others, and in that they try to intimidate others because they're basically projecting their inadequacies on others, right? As I mentioned before, they have low self-worth, so they're projecting their inadequacies by dismissing others and by intimidating others. So a lot of the bullies, guys, a lot of bullies in school, they are narcissists. All right. So they have this perception of always or of being better than everybody else, and they just have this perception that they're better than everyone else, and they make others believe and mistrust their own reality or sanity by this thing that we now hear about all the time. It's called gaslighting, because what they do is they manipulate others in doubting what they said. For example, they'll turn it around and make people believe, question their what they're doing. And a lot of times individuals in relationship with someone who has this type of personality will find the need to always be keeping the texts or keeping emails, just to be able to prove that, no, I'm not crazy, you're the one, this is what you said. It's like when you find the need to really be proving what you said to someone, you might be dealing with someone who's narcissistic. And so they can be very petty. When you say something like that, for example, they can be very petty, try and prove them and say, no, this is what you said. They can be very petty and vindictive, right? And so they will basically insult and demean you in order to regain the power from you providing evidence that they were caught red-handed because you have the proof of the text or the email or whatever it is of what they said. So they don't like that. They don't like to be proven wrong. So they're going to say, no, turn it around and say that, oh, can you be so you're so petty to actually keep those things. So they don't turn it around. Instead of apologizing, they'll turn it around on you to make you feel bad. All right. They also have a tendency to attach themselves to people who are successful. So they're the suck-ups. So the boss, the teacher, they're the ones sucking up and bringing the red apple, the apple to the teacher. Everybody else is doing their own thing and their homework, but they're like a brown noser. They brown nose a lot because they want to be associated with these people who have power. So it could be the manager of the company or the CEOs, whatever it might be, their boss. It could be somebody, but they always try and attach themselves to people. It could be, if they happen to know a movie star, they will be talking about movie star all the time. If they happen to know of some really famous person, they will be talking about that famous person all the time as if they're buddies. So those are the kind of people. Those are some of the signs. And you only have to have about 5 of them, guys, to really be diagnosed. 5 of those qualities to be diagnosed as a narcissistic personality disorder, as an individual with a narcissistic personality disorder. The next thing is, guys, I mentioned that there are certain language patterns that the narcissistic personality disorder individual kind of emanates, right? And basically, they will counteract and turn things around on you when you remind them of something that they didn't do. For example, they might say, well, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have done this. So it's always turning it around to make it your fault. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't have done this, right? The other thing they may say is, well, instead of apologizing and taking responsibility, they will make you feel bad of requiring anything from them. For example, so this is kind of like a type of manipulation, guys. So they'll say something like, well, not all of us are as perfect as you are. So you see what I'm saying? They always turn it back on you. Even when it's something that they did wrong, they will never accept responsibility. They will always turn it back on you. The next thing is that they will they'll blame you for the reason that they do things. You made me cheat. You made me leave. If you would have just taken care of yourself, if you would have just stopped nagging me, you made me leave. You made me cheat. So it's always somebody else's fault. They never take responsibility. The next thing they may do is they're They are usually guys very good at making themselves look really like a nice person, very decent and very kind and caring. Because what they will do is portray themselves to others outside as being like such a wonderful husband or such a wonderful partner. They will probably be so nice in front of everybody else, and they'll also maybe do things for everybody else in the neighborhood, and make, like, oh my goodness, you're talking about this guy. That's not the same guy I know. No, it's not the same guy. But this person, that's what they do. A narcissistic personality disorder individual will make them look good in everybody else's eyes, so that when if you ever try and complain to anybody else, they'll say, no, it can't be the same person. So basically, they could, so when you speak about something that they did that causes you distress, they will tell you that you're just jealous because everyone else thinks he's such a good guy or a good girl, whatever it is, good partner. So guys, this is one of the things that they do, all right? They dislike being interrupted or questioned. In a conversation, they don't want you to even say, ask a question maybe in the middle of when they're talking. And usually, guys, they will control the entire conversation. You can barely get a word in, right? But if you ever dare to try and get a word in, they will always turn it back onto themselves, one, and they will get very angry that you have the audacity to interrupt them or to question anything that they're saying. You should just accept it, right? They will always bring the conversation or the topic of discussion back to themselves. For example, I would actually say things like, I wasn't finished. Let me speak. You interrupted me. So these are things that they will say on a regular basis, right? However, they have no problem interrupting you when you're speaking. They have no problem, because remember, they just want everything to be about them. So they'll interrupt you and interject their thing about themselves, but they don't want to be interrupted when they are speaking about themselves. So you basically feel the need to write down all of these things, or make some kind of you feel the need to write these things down, have it in writing, so you can prove that this person is really like that, because they will always push it back on you. And you now start feeling like, am I going crazy? I mean, did I really, did I, maybe I did say that because that's what he's saying. I said that when I know I didn't say that, or he said that when he said he didn't say that. So it start to make you question yourself a lot. All right, guys. So the next thing they do is they will not listen to you and feel like a bother if you're trying to discuss something that is important to you. Narcissists will respond by looking away, rolling their eyes, looking at their phone. It's almost like tapping their fingers, making you feel as if, I don't really want to be here listening to your concerns. I really don't care about your concerns, that kind of thing. Or rolling their eyes or looking away. And, basically just making you feel as if you're not important, because, they are the most important thing in the universe. So therefore, guys, they might even say something like, just get to the point, because they don't want to listen to anything you say. But yet, when they're in conversation talking about themselves, they will ramble on and on and on and on, and you cannot even get a word in. So this, basically, a narcissist, this type of personality, this person, it's all about them. Okay, guys? So I hope you learned something. I'm going to do maybe a few more videos just to have, so that you guys understand what this type of personality is, so you can see it in the process of dating. And remember, guys, I always say dating is to gather data, not to prove your sexual prowess. Okay? This is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Guys, please like and share this video, and please subscribe to my channel, and also hit that notification bell. That way, as soon as I upload something, that you will be notified. All right, guys, take care, and until next time, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Bye.